Hello everyone. As promised, I am here with my very first video. The topic for this video is how to score a 1500 above in your SAT. Now, let me tell you a few things before I start this video. I will try to keep my accent neutralized so that I can reach out to majority of the students all around the world. Also, this is a video which I am making solely for the purpose of helping the students prepare for their upcoming test. It's not for popularity or anything, so I am not adding any special effects or anything. I'm just starting with only the knowledge that I have and the littlest of the little technical knowledge that I have. So please bear with me, but I can assure you that the things that I share with you are going to come very handy in your exam. Today's topic was, as I said, how to score a 1500 above in your SAT. So now we will answer this question step by step. First, we need to understand what is this test. SAT stands for Scholastic Assessment Test, which is conducted by the College Board. It basically has two test tracks, reading and writing and math. This test used to be conducted in a pen and paper version earlier, but it has lately become digital. The maximum marks one can get in this test is 1600, out of which 1500 is considered as a very nice score. Now, let me tell you, reading and writing that you can see on the screen on the right hand side is actually the first component of this test that you will be attempting, and then comes the math. In each of the test tracks, you will have two modules, and you can already see how many questions per module you will be seeing. In English, actually evidence-based reading and writing, we have 27 questions per module and 32 minutes for answering those 27 questions, and same goes on for the both modules. In math also, we have 22 questions per module to be answered in 35 minutes per module. So let us now understand what is the bigger picture. So in reading and writing, we are actually solving a total of 54 questions in a total of 64 minutes. And in math, we can see the number of questions is lesser and the time is slightly more. So what does this mean? This means that in the math section, you might get something like 1.4 or 1.58 or some minutes, let's say roughly 2 minutes per section. But what about English? You hardly get a minute, right? So let me tell you, English and reading and writing is actually referring to the same thing. Also, I have seen my students are really able to do great with their um, math portions, but they are not able to do that great in their reading and writing. So, reading and writing is the section which makes the maximum difference in the score. The reason I could say is that math is a very, I would say, um, is a kind of test that has a specific answer that there can be just one right answer. There cannot be a great answer or a close answer or something like that. It's not subjective or relative. But in reading and writing, we have the concept of the best response. Something is close but not really right. This is what brings the difference in the interpretation of a particular text, I mean, piece of text that people read. People understand things differently, analyze it differently, and so answer things differently. It's not a hard and fast rule. We don't have equations in English unlike we do in math. So this is why reading and writing brings out the majority of the difference. I have seen so many of my students getting a perfect score 800 on 800 in math, but then because of the reading and writing, they're not really able to get their desired score. But then I can assure you that if you can maintain that perfect score in math, then the only thing that remains is your reading and writing. Even if you keep a 50 uh, marks of grace gap, even if you aim for a 750 out of 800, that would bring your score to 1550, which is again very, very nice. It's next to an ideal score. So in this session, our discussion is solely going to be about how we can improve on the reading and writing sections. Also, there are a majority of there's a lot of factors which are very crucial in determining your score. Let us understand what are they. The very first thing that you must know that this digital test is adaptive in nature. When I say adaptive, I mean it adapts itself, its levels according to the performance that you give. So let's say you are performing a certain way in the first module. So your second module is going to be customized based on how you perform in the first module. This goes on for both the test tracks. Now, there's a big question that this brings. So, which is also which is something that I have experienced with my students also. I've had some mediocre level students who just somehow managed to get through the easy questions. They got an easier level of second module and were in fact able to achieve a 1400 very easily compared to with them when my intellectual and really intelligent kids who know you are who are very great with their English and interpretation and comprehension and English language in general, when they sat for the test, turns out that their score is not as good as they expected. Their score lies somewhere between 1200 and 1300. Why does that happen? It happens mainly because the they are able to answer a lot of difficult questions in their module one, which is why the module two becomes adapted to a difficult level. And, because they're getting more and more difficult questions, which they might not have had that much of exposure to during their practice time period, they panic and they're really not able to get through because maybe they don't know a lot of tricks also to solve those difficult questions. As a result of all these factors combined, they find it very difficult to score. And let me tell you, these difficult questions, in case you are a difficult level test takers, carry a lot of weightage in your exam. So it's very vital that you really do well in the questions which are custom suited for you. So sounds like the easier level test takers are going to have kind of an advantage here. Maybe. Let us understand some of the other major challenges one may face. Time management is a big issue. Uh, I told you that you can get roughly 1 minute per question to answer, but that's not how you will spread your time. You have to use your time judiciously. You have to save your time in some questions which can be solved using tricks, and whatever you can save there, you'll have to use it in the other question where you cannot use a trick, or maybe where you actually have to read the whole text and spend the entire time and effort. So save your extra time for those questions. Adaptive nature of the test is something I've already discussed, and how it can bring down your score or pull up your score. Also, when I was discussing that you might panic because you might not have had a lot of exposure of those difficult level questions, this relates to point number three on the screen: lack of customized practice. We already know that there's a dearth of materials over the internet, which is why I'm here in the first place. There's a lot of lack of customized practice. First of all, we don't have a lot of questions for digital SAT. Even if we have, they're all copied and pasted from College Board. Even I admit I don't have my own questions for SAT. And then there are some platforms they promise you that they'll give you some questions, but I have mostly seen they either copy and pasted, and even if they're created by entirely by them indigenously, I see that the answers in some cases are very disputable, or in other cases they're not up to the mark. They are very easy, not challenging enough. So basically you're not challenged to your optimum level, so that is why you're not really accustomed to those difficult level questions much, which is why you make a mistake in answering those questions and your score goes down. Then a variety of questions. You don't have just one type of questions all over. Although you have MCQ pattern of questions, sometimes you have to answer words in context, sometimes you have to answer command of evidence, sometimes you have to answer this, sometimes you have to answer that, right? So let us understand what are the types of questions that you would see in your reading part. In the reading part, the very first type of questions that you would see is the words in context, which means vocabulary. So let's say the first five questions maybe would be related to vocabulary. Then the next two, three questions would be related to main idea or main purpose of the text, in which a text might be given to you from a piece of literature, like maybe from a pose or maybe from a poem. You would be required to give the idea of the text or the purpose of the text. Then comes part two or connection questions, wherein a part of the text is underlined, and you have to say how is that underlined statement related to the whole text. Then we have cross-text connection questions, in which we have two pieces of text given and we have to kind of draw a Venn diagram in our mind and answer on which of the points both authors would agree or both would disagree, or whatever is the case. Then we have textual evidence questions, when we have to support someone's hypothesis or maybe challenge their hypothesis. Sometimes these evidence questions may also have organized data like graphs and charts in them. So that comes under quantitative evidence. We have some logical conclusions questions, where we have to conclude a text by understanding how the flow of information the text is going. And then there are some simple inference-based questions which occur not at the last of the reading part, actually somewhere in between. They're just related to some detail in the text. In the grammar part, you have punctuations, which come under the umbrella of boundaries. Then you have subject verb agreement. You also have verbs, but subject verb agreement and verbs and sentence structure, all the three topics combined together come under the umbrella of form, structure, and sense. Then you have transitions and rhetorical synthesis in the grammar part. This was for your grammar. Now what you can see on the screen is the types of questions that you may encounter in your test, and this is just to give you a picture of the length of the questions. Some other challenges that you might face is not being able to pay attention in the exam properly, or maybe running out of time, or maybe trying to get it right, but then making a mistake every time, and turns out that you just maybe had a slip of mind, slip of attention, or maybe you just went the extra mile. You just didn't have to do it. So these are the other challenges which also students face a lot, because of which they are really not able to get this desired score. So, how do we solve these problems? First of all, proper time management should be done, for which, when I take my classes, I actually tell the students. So, don't worry, I will be telling you in my subsequent videos in what question, how much time you're supposed to spend. So, that will give you a picture. And no matter what, your approach should always be to save your time. I will definitely be giving you some tricks to solve uh, questions, but that would come with the subsequent videos only, because every type of question has a different type of technique. So that also answers the second point, work smarter than harder. If you ask me how much time exactly is required for preparing for this course in total, let me tell you, not really. If you're able to retain all the rules, tricks, and techniques that I tell you for answering a question, and if you actually follow them consistently and do not just keep forgetting them, or do not just lose the habit of practicing, then you can actually get it done in like as less as 2 weeks actually. And we have a little less than 1 month left for the August 2025 SAT, and I believe together we can pull up the score. Understand question requirement is something which I already tell my kids. Majority of the times, the key for finding your answer lies in the question itself. So make sure you read the question and understand what exactly is asked to you. Last but not least, be literal at all times. It has been observed that whenever my kids are stuck between two choices, it's always the choice of words which makes the difference. So if a word has been used in a text, make sure that it is applicable as per the text. Otherwise, you cannot select it. So this approach, this final point, can help you through almost all of the SAT reading and writing segment. So these are the basic things, basic attitude towards this test, which will help you achieve your score quite easily. So what should be your mindset, students? Quality. You should focus more on quality of this preparation more than quantity. So let's say if you're following my videos, or if you're doing your courses properly, if you're following the techniques or rules which are taught to you, then you're good to go. Let me tell you, not gonna lie, this test is difficult and also unpredictable. So you don't know what you can expect in your module 2, right? So just be prepared for the worst. When you're prepared for the worst, you do not lose your calm, because I will be there to help you out in the throughout the preparation period. I will help you out with all the difficult questions. I'll teach you all the techniques. So you will be well equipped. You just don't have to lose your composure. So as long as you do that, no matter what kind of a difficult question is faced to you, you can actually pull it off. So this target will seem achievable to you in that case. And then you may achieve success in this exam. I hope this gave you a lot of insight about the basics of this test and the approach towards this test that can bring you to a 1500. In the subsequent videos, I'll be sharing one topic at a time. This will maybe go on like an actual course. I will also be sharing every single question that College Board has. So please subscribe to my channel so that I can feel motivated and keep on uploading videos for you, because August 2025 SAT is not far away. Thank you so much. Bye.